that's my sleeper rod setup. I'm going to get this out now, so at least I'm fishing while I set my float rod up. We'll have a bit of a chat about what we're doing today. But yeah, pretty excited. It looks good for it. I'm just getting started, and yeah, it's not as warm as it looks, so I've got a couple of extra layers on. I'm going to put a worm on my float rod down the edge here, and then put some casters over the top. They were maggots, but they kind of were turning quicker than I thought, so I separated the maggots from the casters and kept them damp, kept them cool. So I'm going to be feeding casters, fishing worms and prawns, hoping for those big perch. You know, last time I was here I got 2 double-figure carp, and I think it was a 2-pound perch, something like that, and I've had a few other ones. So yeah, when you find something like this, you gotta get on it, because it doesn't last forever, unfortunately. So we'll get started, we'll feel our way in and hope that the fish respond. It's not the best conditions, really bright, a bit windy and that, but yeah, let's just get started. Wiggly worm. We're into something. Fortunately the camera is really playing up, so you missed the strike and everything, but managed to get you going again. I'm going to assume this is a carp. There we go, nice start. Little F1-y type comment. Keep my voice down because there's an angler in a peg next to me, but that's pretty cool. And it's no blank. Look at that in the sun. Beautiful. A few casters. Just missed one. Yes, right. That's what we came for. Nice perch in the net. Let's get a weight on this one. That's a big commercial perch. £2.4. 2.25. That's a lovely one. It's quite dark, considering on commercials they can often be a bit washed out. That's lovely, nice red fins. £2 perch on the worm. So it's prawns last time I was here, but worms this time. Not many stripes on this one. Let's have a look. That's a cool fish, right? A couple of pictures, we'll get a rod back out. Right, so obviously I'm not on the bank anymore, I'm back home, it's a few days later, and I think I explained it in the video, but as the day went on, anglers set up either side of me, and I couldn't really talk aloud as much as I like to. Not that I'm embarrassed to do so, it's just kind of like, I don't disturb people, and once I've got everybody around me, I just want to crack on with my day. So I decided that I'll talk about the rig now at home, because we've just caught that big perch, I've put it back. And yeah, if I was on the bank, I would have then spoken about the rig. But here it is. It's one of my, like, I kind of call it a mini slider rig. Normally people use a slider in, you know, sort of 12, 15 feet of water. But I quite often use a sliding float rig in relatively shallow situations, kind of 5 or 6 foot. Because when I'm using really big baits, like the big prawns, double worms, lobworms, things like that, you can get in a bit of a pickle with the casting and everything, because you've got a heavyweight 5 or 6 foot up the line, that's your float with a shot around it, and then at the other end you got another heavyweight, and they just sort of spin in the air, and it can be really hard to land a good cast, especially in a situation I was in there with the trees above me. I was having to kind of underarm flick it, so having all that weight in the bottom half of the rig is a lot easier. It makes it, you know, so much easier to cast. Also leads to really positive bites, because you kind of don't get all those little dips in that. You just get big sail away type bites, which is, yeah, brilliant. So what we've got there is £6 mainline going down to our locking shot there, or what would have been our locking shot, our bulk. So a couple of AAs. That did have a number 1 there as well on the bank, but I've lost that. A few inches below that, we've got a little swivel that I use to connect my hook link to my main line. You can do like back-to-back grinners or whatever, but I just find that that's really neat and really strong. And then when we were fishing, I did have a number 6 just up against that. And then yeah, £6 line, £5 hook link. Went a little bit heavier because last time we were there, I did catch 2 double-figure carp, but on my float rod I got snapped, so I was using like 4 and £3. So I'm now using 6 and £5 to get around that. And then yeah, it's about sort of 8 to 10 inches of hook link there. Little number 8, about an inch away from the hook. I don't normally like doing that, but it was so windy at times, I needed something on the deck to anchor that hook bait. Even the big prawn and the worm and that, you know, you'd think they'd be on the bottom, but no, I was drifting around a bit. So adding that extra shot, having a bit of line laying on, did help to slow that down. And then a nice size 10, like a match hook there. And that's what I had my prawn or my worms on. And then, of course, a stop knot up the line, but I've lost that. So yeah, you just have to imagine that I had a stop knot up the line about 3 or 4 inches over depth. And I just fished that with my 12 foot match style float rod, kind of a lightish float rod. And then my favourite Shimano Straduk reel there. I've had this thing about 15, 17 years, I don't know, something like that. But it's a really cool reel. I don't even think they make them in white anymore, but yeah, that's an awesome little guy. I think I need to clean it up and maybe lubricate it a bit. But yeah, that's got £6 line on it, and the fighting drag really helps when you got those big fish on. So yeah, that's the rig that I just caught those fish on. We'll go back to the bank now and crack on and see what else we can catch. After catching that fish, rewarded myself with a trip back to the car to get my hat and my overalls. So I'm happier because I'm hotter now. You know, I think that sunshine earlier made me think it was quite warm, but it's really not. It's still winter pretty much. Maybe another crayfish. What have we got then? We'll be on back line. Must be a perch, come on. Have to land this one big. Well, that's a big one. That's got to be another 2. Let's find out. Very similar size, about £2.4, £2.5. That is really cool. Get in. Definitely a different fish because that last one had a chunk out of its dorsal. That's 2 2-pounders. That's brilliant, right? Need a picture of that. Give this one a nice hand release. That's a big perch. Right, back in the shed again to look at the ledger rig that I just caught that good perch on. So it's £8 line. You could use sort of anything between like 5 and 8, I think would be good. Little sliding weight there. That's 2/3 of an ounce, and it's like a pear-shaped flat pear one. It's one of these paste bombs, but I'm not using it for that purpose. It's just that it's flat, because where I was putting it right next to a sunken tree that was just on the shelf, that can lay on that shelf and not roll down it. And then what I do is I put that on a swivel that's got a bead on the end there. And that just helps to let that slide without too much resistance. People talk a lot about things like perch and pike and catfish, predators in general really not liking resistance. I do believe that to a certain extent. Like, I wouldn't want that lead fixed, but I'm not too bothered about having like a big, large, like resistance-free run ring there. I don't think that would make a massive difference at all. You know, some of the bites that you'll have seen I've got on camera, the perch are pecking away at it for quite a while, and then I wait for them to commit and then I strike into them. And, you know, I've had perch to, well, just over £4 on this rig, so it does work. And you would think that if any fish was going to let go, it would be one of those big ones, but nah, they seem to hang on. And all I do is I just use a quick change bead there, one of the match fishing type ones, to connect the main line to the hook link. And then the hook link is about 2 foot of, in this case, this is £7, so you got £8 down to £7. Big twizzled loop at this end, and that I really rate that. That proper helps to cut down on tangles. And you've got that big section there, it's a bit stiffer, making sure that as you put this in with that big hook bait on, it doesn't all just land in a heap, you know, it sort of straightens out a little bit. And then a nice big, sorry, it's my weight,
nice big size 6 there, wide gape type hook. And I think that's quite important because perch have such a big mouth. You need a hook that's big with a wide gape to catch hold. And most of them are typically kind of hooked in the corners, you know, almost acting like a circle hook. And I've got a little red fake maggot on there, but because it's barbless rules, that just keeps my worms or my prawn on there. And the reason for such a long hook link is, again, it's going back to that whole letting the perch move around with this before they come into contact with that weight there. So the longer it is, the more they can move before that tightens, before it hits away, before the line starts pulling through it. And I just fish that on my my light quiver tip rod. It's 11 foot long, like a match type one, and then little baby bait runner there with my 8-pound line on. And yeah, you can catch all sorts of fish on that. That's the setup that I caught the double figure carp on last time I was there. So yeah, it's capable of catching big fish, but with that soft tip in the rod, you can land those perch really well. Right, back to the action.
Well, that carp is resting in the net there. I'm going to get my prawn straight back out because it's real prime time of day. There it is, what, £6, £7, something like that. Nice mirror, quite dark for a commercial fish. But that's cool anyway, the rods are back out. It's prime perch time. Awesome. Okay, I can finally start gassing onto you now. The angler who was right next to me is gone. Not that I mind talking while people are there, but I just don't want to disturb anyone, and it's a really nice winter's day, so he doesn't want me sat there going on about my YouTube and all that. So what I'm going to do now is, since I've only got maybe another 45 minutes, something like that, is I'm going to put a night light on my float, because last time I was here I got a couple of bites really late on when I couldn't see anything. So yeah, I'm gonna put a little one of these on the float top, just use a couple of float rubbers to attach it. I'm gonna do that now before it's completely, well, you know, dark to the point where I can't see my float. And then with a bit of luck, we might get a bite when, you know, it's in that sort of half light and you see the starlight just go under the surface, you know. Really cool stuff. Anyway, I think that's glowing. It's hard to tell. There we go. I can't say it's the brightest thing I've ever seen. Oh, it is glowing. That might just help us catch one extra fish, which could be that 3-pounder. You know, we've had 2 2-pounders. Let's try and get a 3-pounder. Be a big perch. Be another big perch. Be another big perch. Can you see me? That's 3 big perch today. I'm gonna get the hook out and get the rod back out quickly. This is a good perch. I'm going to say we've got another 2-pounder here. If not more, that could even be my 3-pounder, because that's a big fish. It's a good 2 at least. That's a big perch. That's a big perch. £3.7. £3.7. £3.7. Look, my forceps are still in the net. I was just so like, get my rods back out, get fishing. Oh my god. Two 2-pounders and then a 3-pounder. I'm just going to rinse it off because it's got all that froth on it. I believe that's my 2nd biggest perch. That's incredible. I did not think I'd be catching that today. £3.7. £3.7. Great condition as well, actually. It's not particularly raggedy or anything. Well, it is a bit proper old fish, that. Oh, That is cool. Show them red fins off. Everything about it. That's incredible. £3.7. Right, I'll have to get some pictures and pop it back. Can't believe I'm still fishing as well. The rods are still out. £3.7. Well, I really can't believe it. £3.7. I don't care that I'm putting it back in the same swim and it's going to spook the others, because that's as good as it gets, really. £3.7. I can't stop saying it. Second biggest ever perch on a prawn down the edge. A couple of 2-pounders earlier, a couple of carp. Oh, I don't want to let it go. It's such a beast. I love big perch. And now I've got a carp on. It's for Dave, it just keeps giving. Don't really care if his carp falls off, to be honest. There it is. Oh, my net's behind me. It's foul looked anyway, so we'll just get that hook out and get the rod back in. Well, you can't see me, but I've got to call it there. I've got to say, this has been one of the most atmospheric packaways I've ever done. Wasn't that plane going over right now, because there's owls everywhere, and there's just my night light on my float, just out there chilling. Look at that. It did go under a couple of times, but kind of messed it up a bit, but worth doing anyway. Right, we'll have a little debrief back at the car. Right, I know I said we'd meet back at the car for a little debrief, but I started filming myself driving out back to home, and of course my camera died in the car, but I didn't know that until I started editing. So yeah, all I really wanted to say was that I thought that was a great session to have caught two 2-pounders and a great £3.7, which I'm pretty sure is my second biggest perch. That's amazing. All on prawns down the edge again. Actually, one of them was on a worm on the float, wasn't it? So yeah, that's cool. Well, yeah, it's Friday night. It's a robe-on sort of situation, so hopefully we'll get this video edited, ready, up in time for you guys to see on Sunday. And yeah, hopefully we'll get out again soon and catch some more fish. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for more to come, and I'll see you next time.